Hi, it's Margaret again, your resident thanatologist here, specializing in all things death, dying, and grief related. I'm also a licensed professional counselor in Colorado and a somatic experiencing practitioner. I'm here to dive into all things death and grief, so get cozy because today we are going to talk about how children grieve and how you can support them. So, I have a lot of information that I'm going to be throwing at you, and I'm just checking my notes over here because I want to make sure that I get all the information to you. So, when a child is grieving, it's really important that you support them in a way that is appropriate to their age. And when I say that, I mean, what do they understand? What can they understand based on where they are developmentally? So there are two people, Eric Erickson and Jean Piaget, and you can write down these names. That way, if you have a kiddo, you can look up what they thought like the progress of the development of the child would be. So Eric Erickson had these developmental stages for kiddos. So from birth to 18 months, it was trust versus mistrust. So here the child is learning, can I trust the world? Next, 18 months to 3 years, it's anatomy versus shame and doubt. So can the child do the things themselves or are they reliant on help? Next, we have initiative versus guilt from 3 to 5 years. And is it okay for the child to do things, to act, to move? From 5 to 12 years, we have industry versus inferiority. So, can the child be good and competent? Lastly, in development for children from 12 to 18 is identity versus role confusion. Who am I and where am I going? Now, Jean Piaget, his was different. So, from about birth to 2 years old, this was the sensory motor stage, and children were learning object permanence. So, does an object stay if you don't see it? Like, that's why, like, babies laugh at peekaboo because they don't have object permanence yet. And this usually for children, 8 months to 12 months is when object permanence sets in. Next, we go into the pre-operational stage, and this is from 2 to 7 years. Kids are engaging in pretend play, which is a way that they will also work through grief is through pretend play. They are egocentric, so they really can't see anything outside of themselves. They just know their own perspective. Children are also they have animism at this time where they believe innate objects have feelings and intentions. They also have centration, so they can only focus on one aspect of something and not anything else. From 7 to 11, children move into the concrete operational stage, and this is where they develop and are able to perform mental operations like conservation, classification, and reversibility. Decentration occurs when the child can focus on more than one thing, and this happens at this stage. Next, from 12 to older, we have formal operation stage. So this is where children can now hypothetically, deductively reason. So they can do if then thinking, and they can also start to think abstractly. So taking all that, we're going to move into Brent and Spess. And they thought that for children to understand death, they needed to understand four components. One, death is irreversible. Something that dies will not come back. Two, non-functionality. When something dies, all life-defining functions also die. Universality, that all living things die. And then lastly, causality, that there are specific things that cause death. Illness, accidents, aging. So, with all of that, if you have a child that is grieving, remember honest answers, such as if the child asks, did grandma die? Yes, grandma died. Did grandma feel pain? Yes, grandma was in pain. I don't know if grandma was in pain. Let them know of changes that are going to be happening or coming up. Allow them to say goodbye excuse me, and participate in rituals. This is huge for children. Attending the funeral, saying goodbye, right? If they lost their cat, if this is their first death, having a funeral in the backyard, allowing them to grieve. Also, children, again, play and art is huge for them. So, allowing them to be able to play, draw, color out their feelings. So, remember, grief and death are part of the human experience, and it's okay to meet yourself where you are, to take things one day, one moment at a time. If you have any thoughts, questions, or would like to share your own experience, I'd love to hear from you. So, drop a comment below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more conversations about death and grief. So take care of yourselves. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep exploring the depths with me. And speaking of next time, we're going to be talking about how to support adolescents in grief. Thank you.